Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss current affairs for today, 4th of April 2022. Welcome to all the people here, participants. Hi, Babani, Netra, and we have Ashish. Good evening, Amlan, Vivek, Hima. Welcome all of you. Kanupriya, welcome to you as well. Little less energy today. What's it? Good evening, Kim. Welcome back. Less energy today. What is the issue here? Not feeling great about the exam coming closer? Share it. Share the apprehensions, share the fear, share the issues that you're going through. Let's work it out. All right. Meanwhile, what does the quote of the day say? The quote of the day says, success is no accident. It's not an accident. It is a hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you do. That is the one that is make you going to succeed. Success is not an accident. Right? So any issues, you got to speak it up. You got to share it with family, friends, people who are mentoring, anybody around that you think that can support. You must do that, right? So everything else apart, let's begin this. What do we have in the current affairs today? Today we have 3 updates. One is Chandigarh issue, the issue that Punjab and Haryana government are fighting over some resolutions over it. The second one is UPI and the new form of payment through NFCs, and death penalty. Supreme Court reviewing the way in which death penalty must be awarded. This day in history dedicated to International Day for Mine Awareness. We'll understand about this. An organization working in this field was also awarded Nobel Prize in 1997. Feature news for today is on India-Australia relationship. Image of the day on Battle of Pollilur. Terms and concepts. Igla-S, which has been imported from Russia, ManPAD. Kheta Embroidery from Bihar, lookout notice, lookout circular. Dawn जिसको ढूंढ रही होती है 11 मुल्की की पुलिस. Lookout circular is the one which is issued against them, and for other people also. Light combat helicopters that India has developed for itself. The 3 editorials that we have are one, safer places for women in informal work. The second one is on Ukraine peace, and the third one is on renewable energy pricing. Today's case study is on environmentalist from Pune. So let's start this discussion. All right. The first update is of Punjab claiming over the capital, Chandigarh. So let's understand the issue here. Now, the state of Punjab was the state which had Western Punjab and Eastern Punjab to begin with. The part of Western Punjab included those places which are now part of Pakistan. And the capital was what place? Lahore. And since partition happened, there were a lot of places which had to be recreated, right? For example, Karachi port was a major port at the west coast. And instead of Karachi, now we had to create Kandla port in Gujarat, right? For export of entities. Similarly, when Lahore, another important city, went to Punjab side, we had to create the capital of Punjab. That time, Punjab had 3 different, provinces under it. One was Himachal Pradesh, which got formed as a state later on. Other was Haryana, and the third one was Punjab itself, right? So Punjab, the mother state, and the formation of Himachal, Haryana, and Punjab happened later. So Punjab, the idea with the Prime Minister that time was to create a capital, a green capital, right? It should not be a brownfield project, it could be a greenfield project. And that is the reason that the Punjab, that the Chandigarh that we see is a very, very planned city, right? So 1948 onwards, the planning initiated and they formed a capital here. But provisional capital was Shimla for Punjab, right? And later on, there were demands for segregation and new states. So a territory was cut off for Himachal Pradesh, which would be only Himachal. That would be, the middle Himalayas ranges. So a territory was cut off, a new capital was created. The idea usually is such that the mother state, it is the one which takes over the capital of that particular city, of that particular place. So Punjab, should have taken the capital, that is Chandigarh. But then Haryana, which was also created on the linguistic basis, both the states wanted the capital. The central government said that instead of giving it to a particular state, we would make it a union territory. And the assets would be divided 60-40 ratio between both the states. Punjab would get 60% and Haryana would get 40% of the resources, right? Now, this was the way in which it had to operate. Although it was union territory, yet the government of Punjab's rules and regulations for administration, for recruitment were being followed. Although it was union territory, the Punjab's rules were being followed there, right? So for Bhakra Bias Management Board, Bhakra project, Satluj River. So those projects which were owned by the state government, and it was in the recruitment process. It had the recruitment process. The local recruitments would happen in that place. The central government notified that the recruitment can happen from throughout the country because it is a union territory. It belongs to the union and not a particular state. Punjab has, of course, this is the 7th time they have resolved saying that this is our part, right? And the UT was formed only for a particular amount of time. It was getting exceeded. They formed it for initial 5 years. Haryana had to create its own capital. It did not create in due time, and the extension to union territory was given over 5 decades now, 50 years now, right? So it started in the year 1966 and now is what, 2022, right? So you can very well calculate how many years now, 5+ decades. And so this is the issue. Right now a notification was issued if the center could go ahead with the new recruitments at the central level. This is where Punjab said no, it belongs to us. Haryana has also time and again mentioned that there should be a committee formed to resolve this Punjab issue. On the other hand, Punjab says no, this belongs to us, we are the mother state, and Haryana should be able to create its own new capital. Now, when the assets were divided earlier, 60-40 ratio, this was one thing, but lately Haryana has started to say we need a high court for ourselves, right? In the legislative assembly around area also, we need some place for ourselves, right? Some rooms. So this is the political issue that both the states are going through along with the central government. Also, one thing more to note here is the fact that the central government had decided in 1970s that Punjab will be the one which would take over eventually the capital, Chandigarh. What is the basis? They said, under quotes, they said layout, architecture and beauty have evoked wide admiration, and the city has acquired an international reputation. So it would not be good to divide the city itself, right? La Corbusier was the one who planned the city here, right? So this is one update from Punjab. That's what we have put here as well, right? So partition, Shimla was made the temporary capital, and then Punjab capital, Chandigarh, transferred. 1953 it got created. 1966 new states got formed, and Punjab was a provisional capital for both the places, also a union territory. It was to be transferred to Punjab, but then there were a couple of issues. For example, there was an accord between Rajiv Gandhi and Longowal, right? So an accord was signed, but then it was not transferred that time because the person was assassinated right then, right? Why? Because this is the time when there were cases of factionism in Punjab. If you know the case of Bhindrewala, that is the time when Bhindrewala had declared that they would want those territories of Haryana as well as an independent autonomous province, in fact a country in itself, which would have Punjabi speaking population from Haryana as well, right? So they didn't like these accords, so they murdered this person Longowal, and therefore since then the accord has only it's like a stalemate situation, right? Now the government has lately said that central government laws will apply to this particular place, right? So this is the update here. Now why are we updating a question like this to you? See, this is an issue not only between center and state. This is also an issue between two state governments. So what could be a solution? Remember the Assam Meghalaya issue also, or one of the similar cause. Right now the province of Andhra Pradesh is also going through creation of capitals, no? One capital theory, three capital theory. What is the issue? So capitals or demarcation of state boundaries should be dependent on many factors. If you remember the Assam Meghalaya conversation, the solution, a part of the solution was it should be dependent on administrative feasibility, right? Economic conveniences. It should be dependent on people emotions. So you should spot maybe 5-7 issues and 3-4 solutions for a problem like this, and this is happening all across the country, right? So please remember that. Also, there's one thing that I have kept noting this whole year, especially for pre-exam, that is that the formation of Northeast states, right? 1972, now it is 50 years. The formation of Punjab and Chandigarh now again in question. So the sequence in which states got formed possibly is a good bet for, you know, understanding, for remembering. I hope you understand what I'm hinting at, right? So the year in which the states got formed, or state reorganization happened, that becomes important, right? Which happened earlier than the other. All right. So okay, quite some conversation. See, you people are free to converse studies related thing. Anything that you people are talking of is completely fine. Absolutely, you must form a you know, a group and converse for each other's welfare. So Amlan says, sir, is it new issue between center and Punjab government or started after change in government? This is a very old issue. The issue of demarcation of the state and which state the territory belongs to is a very old issue. It was never resolved, but then it was in limbo. Why was it in limbo? Why was it not taken out ever? Is because the recruitments in many projects, right? For example, the Bhakra Byas management board, right? This is the board which recruits people and provides water across states like Punjab, Rajasthan, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, all these states. Now the recruitment was happening by the laws that are mentioned with the Punjab government. But now the central government says that no, since it is a union territory, we will follow our own regulations. And yes, to share with you, this happened after the elections happened, right? Okay, this new notification was passed lately only after the elections in Punjab got sampann हुए. Okay, but then उसमें क्या करना है? You understand what I am saying, right? Hima, absolutely correct. Operation Blue Star, 1984. Okay, the second update is on UPI Payments, tap to pay. Okay, have a look at this image. This is the tap to pay services that we are speaking of. UPI payments could be made by just tapping your phone to POS device. What is a POS device? Point of sale device. Just tap here and then put down your UPI pin code, and then the payment happens. You don't have to scan the through the help of scanner. Don't have to log into app and write in the details. You just have to tap here. It is very similar to the you know, NFC payments that would be happening through our debit and credit card itself. So I was not exposed to this feature, and you should also make yourself alert, right? This particular feature, the Wi-Fi feature that you see here, there is a chip here, and that recognizes near fiber communication, NFCs, right? That recognizes it. So at point of sale device and your card are chips which recognize each other very well, and they would accept payment if your card is enabled. And if the card has a feature like this, it has 3-4 dots here, right? One of my cards does have it. I was not aware, and here only a slight, and here not even putting of pins is required. So, and you know, payments up to 5,000 will happen. N number of payments can happen very close to, you know, even if you've got the card inside your wallet or your pocket, you know, and it just, you know, opens up a little, this is possible. So you have to take care of this. Anybody needs to be taking care of a thing like this. So this is another way in which payments have gotten initiated. Yes, but in case of card payment, you can get this services deactivated, but by default it remains activated. Right now, this is where I want to differentiate this service with the RFID, radio frequency identification technology, right? RFID tags and NFC. The one important difference between RFID and NFC is that NFC will be using near field communication, will be using high frequency, and this one uses lower frequency. This is one. The other one is that in near field communication, you will need to have both the devices in direct proximity with each other. They cannot be, there has to be direct line of contact between both the articles. You can't hide it. It can't be, you know, covered with a cloth. They need to be in direct contact. But then in case of RFID detection, the article need not be in direct contact, right? This is another thing. The distance of communication between RFID tag and reader can be, say, 100 meters as well, 50 meters as well. What happens at the national highway toll gates, these are the RFIDs are the ones which are placed. What happens at Amazon service desks where a lot of logistical devices and baggages are kept. You've got a machine, right? And through RFID identification, one can swipe maybe hundreds and thousands of packages within a very small fraction of time. So this is what RFID reader is about, but NFC is little different, more specific, more towards user interface. So while RFID technology can be used over long distances, NFC technology is limited to small distances. RFID tags can generally be scanned at distance of up to 100 meters, do not require direct line of sight to the reader, right? Okay, good enough. Okay, this is what I explained to you in addition to whatever is written here. So UPI pin, point of sale, NFC, RFID, right? So where all can you use this? NFC, near field communication, you can use it at many places. Contactless payments, in case of your home and you need services like Internet of Things, it can be used in 5G areas of operation, ticketing, transport cards, so many other things. But even government of India is releasing such kind of transport cards, card through which not only Delhi Metro, but then in the buses also you can just swipe across this card and it will detect the payments, right? So a very good technology. It's already available in many. So integrated device, integrated card for all travel related payments. This is already available in many advanced countries. All right. So how does NFC work? Chip, and how does RFID work? Both of them shared. Third update is on death penalty. Okay, what is the context of this article? I had this in mind for a long time, but then we've only discussed small parts here. Death penalty is a complete feature news in itself, right? And the way it gets commuted, all that thing. But then I want to just give you a context of two important things. Saudi Arabia, mass execution of 81 men, and these people were of the quite a few people of here were of the Shia community. So Iran was really not happy in these executions. 81 executions on a single day, right? Mass Saudi Arabia. Another news that had come up lately was death penalty for around 38 people. Some blast had happened, I think Ahmedabad or some blast, and because of that the court had confirmed the 38 persons death penalty. So India being a country which is advancing slowly and steadily, these human rights issues of awarding death penalty is something that is a little regressive in nature, right? So this was questioned. So these are the two contexts. Another context that I could see in news is the number of death row prisoners, highest in 17 years now, almost 500, says a report. Number of death row prisoners are around 500, which is highest in 17 years. So India, in which direction are we moving? That is the question. And in that context, the Supreme Court has wanted to review the death penalty cases. It says that right now, these days, the courts, the trial courts or the other courts, they are awarding death penalty in a very haphazard and random manner. It is not organized. Whereas the Supreme Court had already given some standing instructions in a particular case, right, in 1980s. So let us understand some things about this particular issue, right? First of all, Bachchan Singh case. Bachchan Singh case versus the state of Punjab. So this is where a framework was administered. A framework was administered in what cases can the court go ahead and award death penalty and not award the life imprisonment. In most of the cases, there should be life imprisonment, but in exceptional circumstances, rarest of the rare case, the court needs to award the death penalty. But this can only happen after the court has covered all ways in which life imprisonment was not the penalty that the court should have given, right? It needs to exhaust all the means and only then death penalty needs to be awarded. This is what it is, right? But then this has not been followed at all, right? So let us understand few things about it. See, when this set of instructions were released, one important instruction was that one should know all the data and information available about the criminal and the crime both, Right now, data about crime is available, but criminal is hardly available. Only sparse data is available, right? The courts itself are saying this. Very sparse sentencing information about the accused brought before the judges. That means if less information is available about the accused, the court is not in a best position to tell if the person needs to be given rarest of the rare penalty or not, right? They could be awarded the life imprisonment, but rarest of the rare, we need to know more about the criminal. See, the idea behind penalty like death, maybe to remove or rarest of the rare case, whatever is the idea, the court determines that, but then the life of a person cannot be brought back. That is the prime argument against the death penalty. If we could not bring, if humans cannot give life to any individual, how can they have the right to take away anybody's life? This is the prime argument for not awarding death penalty. But then here we don't have criminal information. This is one. The second one is that many people who are in death row, many people who are in trial courts also, quite a few of them, in fact, vast majority of these people are those who do not have access to information, access to finances, access to power, access to human resources who can guide them against such severe penalties. Vast majority of death row prisoners are economically vulnerable and often very often receive poor legal representation. So, and eventually they end up with the gallows. Gallows matlab ye फांसी का फंदा. There are two stages in any criminal procedures. One is the guilt stage in the court, and the second one is sentencing stage. So first stage is the one in which guilty is proved. If the person is guilty or not, that is proved. After that has happened, then what sentencing has to be given, that has to be done. So once the guilt has been proved, sentencing has to be done, and in sentencing, the nature of crime, anything will not change, right? Nothing will change here. So then this is the reason that during guilt stage only, one needs to know more about the nature of crime, the way it was conducted, or background of the criminal. There are many places in which the criminal, although would have killed somebody, but then what if they were under the influence of see, this is only a perspective. What if they were the influence of somebody else, right? So what that the pretext of murder or the criminal offense was induced, they did commit it, absolutely true, but then the court does look into the factors at play, and they are complex set of factors. I'm not saying this, court says this. There are times when the court has commuted the death sentences to life imprisonment when the court saw that the person who was accused, who murdered many people, has a small child. See, so humanitarian ground, it says that okay, theek hai, let's have life imprisonment for you, not death penalty. Court does this. I am not saying this. So court says that there are complexities and various factors that contribute to a set of decisions and actions in their lives, and they need to be considered. And in fact, many lawyers themselves are saying that this is an interdisciplinary nature, goes beyond law, forensics, police, right, psychology, psychiatry, so many other fields as well involved, medicine. So when a lot of people are involved, information is less, the court just decides on what is available, and it results into, as I have shown, 500 death penalties as of now pending, and then this is the highest in 17 years, and we are not going towards a direction which is said to be more progressive for the whole world. Simple enough, right? Okay. At the heart of the framework was the recognition that the legislature in the CPC, Criminal Procedure, CRPC code, has made it clear that life imprisonment would be default punishment. Life imprisonment has to be default punishment, and judges would need to give special reason if they want to impose the death sentence. What is this? This is the framework which has been built around Bachchan Singh versus State of Punjab. State of Punjab. So just like we have Vishaka guidelines 1996, we have this also. Do remember the name, Bachchan Singh, and this is the heart of the framework, that the court needs to give special special reasons. And what are the special reasons? Rarest of the rare. This is what is the special reason, and it could be unique for each of the every case, right? But then this is the heart of the judgment. So please remember this. This is very important. Whenever death penalty comes here, this is the question. Whenever euthanasia comes up, something else will be there. So this is the update. Okay, getting back. So अब काफी idea लग गया होगा, I think. Supreme Court has mentioned that it needs to re-examine the way death penalty is being awarded, right? a study was conducted, Project 39, and it has looked into many cases, around 500-600 cases of death penalty, found that there are a lot of inconsistencies in which death penalty were awarded. Information was incomplete, yet people have been given death penalty. So this is what is the update about. Okay, all that I have explained is already mentioned, is also mentioned here. Okay, let's look at what you people are saying. Okay, why people are against capital punishment, but at some extent it is required. Why people are against capital punishment, but at some extent it is required, sir, especially in cases of murder and rape. I'm not refusing this. I'm not even a judge as well. All I'm saying is that the courts have a different interpretation to these crimes. Heinous crime, see, heinous crimes, crimes of excessive gravity, for them death penalty is up to which the courts can actually go. But this is the precedent that must be followed. Bachchan Singh versus State of Punjab. You have to award special reasons. Just rape, just murder will not be sufficient. In that case, you rather award them the lifetime imprisonment, right? And lifetime imprisonment, don't think it is short, it is less. That is even worse. That is even, actually, if you read the memoirs of the people who are in jails, especially who are in lifetime imprisonment, and even if it was 14 years of imprisonment, even if, and they had to be acquitted, they were not acquitted, it is pathetic. People on death row, the whole body starts to malfunction towards the time that they are designated to go and stand at the gallows. Their bodily functions, their mind functions, they become crazy, literally mad, right? The control of the excreta would not happen, right? So there are a lot of things which are such gravity that death penalty really is a way in which people can evade these kind of issues. There's such crimes happening in jails, right? So that is also, I'm not saying that this is the reason that people are given penalty. All I'm saying is that it is not less of a penalty, right? Okay, I don't know, Amlan. Capital punishment should not be the solution. As sir said, humans have no right to take life. Hi. Babani says, Amlan, what I think is when person failed in suicide attempt, got arrested. Okay. I got you people. I got what you people are saying. I understand. See, you people are getting into the rationale of death penalty. We can't become emotional here. We have to look at the pros and the cons. So, and this has to be looked at very objectively here, right? If we become emotional on these issues, then how will we be able to write answers? If we are the judge, how will we be able to deliver a judgment here? If we are the police officer who are supervising the case, how can we become emotional on a situation like this? The positives of giving a death penalty and the negatives of giving a death penalty. The argument that I gave, right? The life argument, we cannot bring somebody to life, we cannot take a life. This is a moral argument. So put your arguments under headings. The negatives of death penalty, a positive of death penalty, society. The society gets cleaner with time. In a way, it gets removed. Society gets removed of those people who are malicious of intent, who didn't have whose mind wasn't working in a way in which civic society would be able to live. But then personal independence would get compromised, right? Then funding of jails, all these are the issues. So you should always look at economy, society, environment, morality, the historical legacy, or the cues, historical hints or historical cues that we have. See, there's so many ways in which you can segregate death penalty and see what is the rationale of awarding a death penalty. And going even beyond that, there is a legality behind it, right? Which is court's interpretation of the law, which is beyond how we think. Okay. So look at all the perspectives. Okay, Amlan says, so in crimes like gang rape, death penalty. death penalty, and they are castration, so many things. This is populist opinion. I'm not refusing to this, but this is what is populist opinion. But the court might disagree with what is being said here. And can we actually write in conclusions a thing like this? I really doubt, right? A person with wisdom, see, that's what I'm saying. No, what if a person has been accused of a crime like gang rape, but they were actually not found guilty, but then the evidences were against them? So we cannot give it very objective treatment that a crime like this and this is the solution for a crime like this and this is the solution. There needs to be certain level of discretion with the judge as well, and that is the reason that we see in heinous crimes 10 years of imprisonment up to death penalty. It is for the judge to decide if this is the gravity of offense. We cannot be so objective. फिर judge का काम क्या, right? What is the interpretation then? Okay, I hope you people understand what I am saying. We'll discuss this in in further conversations again. Okay, moving ahead to this day in history dedicated to an International Day for Mine Awareness initiated by United Nations. The organization which is looking into this also got the Nobel Prize for Peace in the year 1997. All right, safe steps, bringing attention to many people experiencing. And yes, the main idea is to convert these places into safe grounds, right? Safe grounds, safe steps, safe home. Many mines were put. What mines? Land mines, right? Human mines, land mines were put at places of human residences, and now they have become places where people cannot reside. Let me show some of the images of the ways in which mines can be removed. See, so these are the minesweeper vehicles, right? So tires being placed in front of the vehicles. This is a machine ahead of which it excavates the land and then removes the mines. These are the olden times when minesweepers would be working. Even as of date, if you go to disturbed areas, for example Kashmir, you would find these minesweepers working every day in the morning. Not these, but then humans moving around and then vehicles moving around and cleaning the possible mines, happening in many places around the world, Afghanistan, Iraq, etc. So International Day for Mine Awareness. Feature news of the day on India-Australia Economic Cooperation. We'll understand the trade agreement. This is largely on how we understood the India-UAE agreement, right? Complementarity, right? Way in which both the countries can indulge not only in trade, but investment. See, Australia is one economy which is going through population issues, right? So population, advanced country, not very big, but then sixth in size, humongous resources. It needs human resources. It wants, and India is definitely providing it. So a lot of cooperation can happen between these two countries, just like the cooperation between India and Middle East countries. So here we have a free trade agreement between both the countries. We will understand this article in totality in the feature news today. Okay. Image of the day on painting of Battle of Pollilur. All right, Tipu Sultan and his father Hyder Ali, they have been quite popular the whole year, right? Because of some or the other controversies, Mumbai and Karnataka and whatnot. So please remember, try to revise the Mysuru Kingdom, the Anglo-Mysuru War, the war between the Mysurus and the Marathas. All those things need to be re-looked at. They have been popular. Now this is one of the three paintings which was the wall paintings, miniature wall paintings, mural paintings that have known to exist of the Battle of Pollilur. All right, against the Britishers, East India Company, right? This is what this image depicts. I'm giving you hints about pre-exam also. All right, what is Igla-S? Igla-S is one of the ManPAD devices, man portable defense system devices, which India has purchased at an emergency level from Russia. Not that India is going through a war, but then India has always been needing it. So yes, it requires. See, this is very short range, right? What is its range? Its range is 500 to 6,000 meters. A foreign entity, possibly an aircraft or anything, vessel coming very close, as close as 500 meters to 6,000 meters, 500 meters to 6 kilometers, this man-portable devices, Igla-S, should be fired. So India had, thrown a tender towards the international governments, and then Russia had offered it at the most economical prices. So India went ahead, not only the most economical, but must be the most optimal possibly. But then India went ahead with this because in newspaper, in Hindu, it says it was also economical, right? Very short range air defense systems with an altitude of 10 to 3.5 kilometers, 10 meters to 3.5 kilometers. All right. So assures 24/7 close air protection of military installations and civilian assets and ManPADs. So human held, it can be moved from one place to another very easily. Okay, what else about these kind of entities? This air defense functions in 3 levels, right? So gun or missile, medium range fired weapons, high range fired weapons. Within this air defense guns, the air defense guns are of 2 types. Air defense gun missile systems, the first one, the gun or missile system, the air defense self-propelled guns. The army is looking for air defense guns in both the categories. The medium segment indigenous Akash missiles are there, surface to air Akash missiles, and medium range surface to air missiles are in the high range category, right? If you don't understand, I'll show this with the images sometime. Let me know if you don't understand. The 3 kind of air defense functions. One is through gun or missile defense systems. The second one is medium range. Third one is high range. Medium range, India has got Akash missile. High range, we have medium range surface to air missiles. And in gun missile system, there are 2 of the kind. One is the propelled, the one that is propelled, automatic propelled guns, and the second one is missile systems, right? India is looking forward to both of them. Okay, moving ahead to Kheta embroidery. All right, usually in embroidery we would find some flowers or desert, some cultivation of desert, influence of desert living. But then Kheta embroidery from Bihar, this Kheta embroidery from Bihar, which is being displayed at Delhi Craft Museum, this is of different kind. Here you would find life from Bihar, rural life depicted from Bihar. For example, entities like movement of earthworms, right? Movement of earthworms, beetle leaf, ripples of the river, the ripples, the waves of the river. This is what would be a part of this embroidery, and they would do this embroidery work on quilts. So this is one of the employment intensive sectors. See, building the Kheta work here, Kheta embroidery. All right, this is a good example of Kheta embroidery. Employment is something that gets generated from this, creating awareness amongst people. People will be ready to purchase entities like this. It has been displayed for the first time in Delhi Craft Museum. So a lot of people to purchase this. All right. Kheta is done by one person like a signature quilt. All right. Look out notice, look out circular. So here we see the image of photograph of Nirav Modi, but then LOC, look out circular, has been initiated against many people, right? LOC against many people who have been found to go against government orders. What example? So for example, government had asked some people not to leave the country, right? When an investigation is on. There are times when Supreme Court or High Court also ask people not to move beyond the territorial domains. Then there are various cases in which executive bodies like Enforcement Directorate, NIA is conducting investigations against people, terrorism ho ya fir anything. So there are many ways. Acha ek aur hai Dawn, 11 मुल्कों की पुलिस ढूंढ रही है इनको. So in this case also, if this is a part of Interpol, International Police, right? So even in case India has got allies or a neutral body which is taking care of the international criminals, India will be passed on a list of people who are offending, right? Offending in nature, and economic offenses, political offenses, genocide, crimes against humanities, political crimes, all of them would be included in this list. And at all the checkpoints, integrated checkpoints, ICPs, all these people, their data would be there in the database. And once the passport is scanned, it would be found that that person is there ahead of them or not. And this is how lookout circular will be activated. So people will not be looked out at, right? If found, if there is order to imprison them, so then they will be on the spot taken in custody. If there is order to just notify the agency that the person has moved, that also is there. But then I just want to show you the lookout circulars international level, so that you know very well about it and what is it issued for. So I've taken it from Interpol itself. There are some of the lookout circulars which are issued. For example, red corridor notice, red notice. Red notice means they are wanted persons. You have to apprehend them, you have to handcuff them and then give them to international police, and after that they will be taken abroad wherever they have to be taken to. Green corridor, so warning or intelligence, that's it. Orange, imminent threat. If a person is there with orange corridor notice, this is an imminent threat to that particular place. Yellow corridor notice, right, for a missing person. If a person was missing and they have been found in front of us, and a yellow mark is being there in the LOC, yellow mark, that means this person has been found. It has to be informed that they have been found, they were missing earlier, right? Unidentified bodies, black notice is given. Red corridor, red notice is the most offensive one. Okay, so why news is because a journalist, right, she was apprehended at Mumbai airport not to move out of the country. You must know what is LOC, lookout circular. Against many people, for example, we had Vijay Mallya. He was a Rajya Sabha member of parliament. LOC was not issued the time when he moved out of the country, and only after he moved out of the country, the government had put his name in the database. So he moved out legally. Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi didn't move out legally, right? They went out through some ways, some fishing boats outside, and then through international waters. But then Vijay Mallya went legally, showing the Indian passport, and after that he has not been returning back ever since. Light combat helicopters in news. See, India has had reconnaissance helicopters. If you look into the images of cheetah helicopter or Chetak helicopter, these are very small helicopters. 3 persons can be carried. Reconnaissance, right? Emergency airlifting of person who is injured, or surveillance aircrafts, right? Very, very small, and they cannot even rise to higher altitudes. They cannot carry a lot of masses. They are not offensive or attack helicopters. India has always wanted to construct an advanced light helicopter. This is what it looks like. So India started with the project to initiate Dhruv. But then this is an advanced version of the same. This is called as light combat aircraft, developed by HAL, indigenously developed, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. It has got many capabilities. It can move at a speed of 250 km per hour, advance to as much as 500 kilometers in one go, lift itself up to 6.5 kilometers in height, and also has got offensive capabilities. You'd find missiles which can be launched from this aircraft. So India definitely going ahead in defense preparedness, right? Indigenous defense preparedness. So 268 kilometers, range of 550, 6.5 kilometers, takeoff weight 5,800 kilos, that is 6 tons. So it is derived from the existing Dhruv helicopters and can be deployed in various roles, including tracking slow-moving aerial targets, insurgency, destroying enemy defense, search and rescue, anti-tank, and scouting. Okay, so good effort. They were in news lately because the government has also looked for procurement of these, right? See, these are different PSUs or defense establishments. One is HAL. If it constructs some of these aircrafts, possibly defense ministry might buy them. Possibly, other governments also might want to buy them. So this is just like a PSU creating products and other people purchasing it. That's it. So that is why in news, LCH. Okay. Do I have something else here? Yes, have a look. This is what LCH Don't confuse this with LCA, light combat aircraft. This is LCH, light combat helicopter. We didn't have any of this indigenously built. Now we have one. Making all workplaces safer, getting to editorials, but then there are questions. Yes, Amlan, very good. The way you are looking at this perspective of death penalty is very good. Diverse views. I like this way you've looked at it. You know, this is viewpoint. Views could be opinions. No, opinions are matter of worldly concern. They are not facts. Matter of opinion are not fact. Fact is axiom. It cannot be disproved or proved. It is fact, right? Similarly, if we have views and opinions, there could be altercations, there could be issues, there could be alterations also. Opinions, and that is why we need to listen to all the opinions, and we need to write such opinions, wiser ones, in pros and cons, and then come to a conclusion which is wisdom oriented, which is modern, which is progressive in nature for every issue. That could be the wisdom for every question. Hima, it's always great to see these questions from different. Yes, that's why I want you to keep typing down anything that comes to your mind with regard to any topic. Next topic that we're going to see, safer women workplaces. It would be pathetic for you people to know what is the condition in which women workforce is operating, especially informal workers. I will share that with you people. Yes, that's the name. I don't want to take names. Hima, absolutely. Yes, Assam Chars. Good, Kriti. Kriti, welcome. No problem, Kriti. Good that you're here. Making all workplaces safer for women. So you would be surprised to know about how women are working at various workplaces, especially informal workers. So let's understand this. See, women, especially in informal employment, there are no guarantees of workplace. There's lesser availability for avenues. For example, a formal workplace like factory laborer, and they would have canteens, they would have toilets. But then if an informal worker is working, like a woman is working as a sharecropper, as a tenant cropper at places, will she have a toilet access? There is nothing like that. There is nothing called as a toilet. Will she have access to canteens? Not at all. What places do have it? Only formal places. But then do you know as much as 96% of rural jobs and as much as 79% of urban jobs are completely informal in nature? I'm speaking abhi gender neutral, but if you look into gender specific jobs, 98% of women in the rural areas, they're employed in informal employment. 98% women, and this 79 rises to 82% for women in the urban areas. That means women are the one which are more employed in the informal sector. They don't have access to any facilities. Not only that, a lot of issue with the women employment in informal sector also has got to do with violence against women, crimes against women, be it assault, physical assault, sexual assault, rapes. There are many issues of such things, and you will come to know as I start speaking more about this. See, there's something called as labor force participation rate, right? This is a very striking thing. United Nations has mentioned this. India must mention this. This has come as a question in many UPSC examination papers. Very important fact that labor force participation rate, especially of women in South Asia, is declining. How is it possible? Why is it happening? There are many reasons to it. So let's understand. I'm going beyond the scope of this editorial to make you understand some realities about this. If you look at this image, have a look. The labor force before that definition, labor force participation rate is the labor force divided by the working age population into 100. Labor force, that means all the people who are looking for employment or who are employed. Okay, looking for employment or who are employed. The other people existing in this category itself, right, in the age 16 to 64, but who are not looking for employment or are not employed, could be you people. You people are studying for examination. You don't want to get employed right now. There are people who want to sit at home and watch TV. They don't want to get employed. There are people who are relaxing because they have got a lot of finances. So they will not be participant of labor force, but they will be a participant of working age population. The total population here by the and labor force ahead of it, right? So this is the labor force participation rate. Now labor force participation rate should be increasing. No, ideally it should keep on increasing or maybe stay almost what it is. But why is it declining, especially for women participation? Women labor force by women working age population. You see this image, it will very clearly show International Labour Organization. दोस्तों ये देखो 1998 and 2018. This is South Asia. Why is the female labor force rate, participation rate declining? Latin America, it has increased. North Africa increased. Middle East increased. Middle East increased from 18% to around 20%. But why has it declined in a country like India? It is in the sequence of declining only. It has declined also in another place. Overall world ka bhi thoda decline has happened. It is because two places, East Asia and South Asia, it has declined. So East Asia led by a country like China. But you see in Africa also it has increased. In Asia Pacific, South Asia, world, this is almost stagnant. But India, it has declined. One of the reason is the way women are harassed at workplaces. They are not aware of their right. Domestic Violence Act 2005. Right, and then there is prohibition of sexual harassment at workplaces 2013 Act, both of them. People are not aware of it. There are committees which have to be formed in the formal workplaces. Women are not aware about it, right? So this is the situation. And the examples, informal employment in tea plantation, laborers getting tea plantation employment, right? To just pluck tea leaves, employment are scarce. So women just want it. And many people who migrate during these harvest season, they are the ones which get exploited. Multiple levels of exploitation, resources have said this, right? What is required is not only to give education and quality of employment, but also to make them aware about these acts. But then let me share something more beyond the capacity of this editorial. So one point is that there is a U-shaped relationship between development and female labor participation rate. So whenever development happens with time, the female labor participation decreases initially and then increases later on. Very simple. When the earning capacity of a family, it increases. When it increases, then the female labor participation decreases. Also, when industrialization increases from agriculture economy to industrial setup, when there's a transition, there are more jobs available which are more conducive to a male worker. For example, factory setups where exploitation happens, right? Physical exploitation is more, right? So when labor codes are not followed, I'm speaking of those times. So there's a nature in which women do not participate, but as and when there are more opportunities for female, right? For example, right now, what do you see? Migration, feminization of migration. You remember we covered a feature there. So feminization of migration where female workers are moving from rural areas to urban areas. For what? For home-based employment. For what? MSMEs. We also know that they are paid less. See? So this is where in service sector economy, they are moving, and this is where you would see more female participation slowly and steadily. It will happen to India as well. This is one of the reasons. Other reasons, as I told you, are the kind of exploitation women meet. One example of this exploitation, you would be surprised to know that females, so these are the news items, over 13,000 females sugarcane laborers in Bede have gone through hysterectomies. What is this? So this is a condition where women get their they get their they get a procedure through which the wombs of the females are removed. They voluntarily get it removed because if they don't get it removed, they would be still the menstruation cycle. See, menstruation cycle is very normal between the age of after the age of puberty, say 12 years of age to say 50 years of age. But they themselves go through a procedure like this, hysterectomies, and they get their womb removed so that they do not go through the monthly cycle. If they go through monthly cycle, the employers say this is not conducive for working women who are working in sugarcane industry factories. So many of them have gone through this condition, and imagine that are these the human rights that we ever envisaged we would give to our women workers, labor force, whatever employment they are in. But then see, they are forced to go through this because otherwise they would not receive employment. See? So this is the first issue. The second issue is that of renewable energy tariff problem. So what is this? There's a small mistake that I had conducted. This is a Toyota car. What's the name? Just forgot the name. Toyota car. This car costs 60 lakh only, not 2 crores, unlike what I had mentioned. I thought this was a different car, Lexus, but this is a Toyota car in which the minister had come to the parliament for popularizing hydrogen fuel. But then again, 60 lakh rupees, who can pay? Let's see who can pay. So renewable energy has a tariff problem. Here is how to fix it. Indian Express. The editorial says very clearly that in India, tariff is fixed on largely two bases. One is the fixed cost and the other one is variable cost. Whenever we fix a banquet hall, whenever we want to fix an occasion, right? For example, a birthday party, and we fix a banquet hall, there are two costs that we pay. One is the fixed cost, electricity. Bijli to sari chalegi, so electricity will have to pay the fixed cost. The number of waiters who are around, same cost. Similarly, gatekeepers, same cost. Even if we are 100 people, or if the people are 10, or if the people are 1000, the gatekeepers have to be there. There has to be a diesel backup available. So all these are fixed cost. On the other hand, if the number of people rise, right, to the occasion, many people come. So in that case, more food has to be prepared. That is a variable cost, right? Similarly, this is what happens in case of energy tariff also. Energy tariff has got two prices. One is fixed and the other one is variable. The fixed cost is there for those places which need necessarily some cost for its operation. On the other hand, variable cost is for those where the pricing of the energy product is also defined according to the fuel rates. For example, coal rates, right? For example, various other rates, Hydel. See, I'll tell about Hydel. Coal is the primary product that we use. So here variable pricing is used. So there is a fixed cost for running the coal-based power plant also, fixed cost, and there is a variable price also. This is what is the two-way model for price discovery. But then for renewables, for solar energy, what is the variable price? There is no variable price. What is the variable price for wind? If energy has been generated, it has been utilized. If not, it has been wasted. Wind will again come and flow. That is why they are called as renewable. And this is the reason they have only one cost, right? But the government, what it did that for Hydel, it created a fixed and variable cost. See, all of it is fixed cost, but half of the fixed cost, government converted it to variable cost, right? So for coal and Hydel, fixed and variable cost have been put, but for other modes, for example, nuclear power, for example, renewables like solar and wind, variable power has not been put, right? Only fixed cost has been put. Along with that, now look at the concern. The issue here is that these power, the solar and wind power, government has called them as those which must run facility. Status has been given to them, must run status. It means that no matter what, the first power consumption, the first power purchase that must happen, it should happen from solar and wind. But the problem here is that solar ka bhi average rate is 2.5 plus 2.5 rupees per unit of purchasal, and this is a fixed cost and only for the new units. The older units would cost 3.5, 4 rupees, but coal power is cheaper than this. That's the problem. When coal is cheaper, people will go for this, but the government has given must run status. That means the first procurement should happen for these power only. This is where the editorial says there must be variable power in solar and wind also, right? Variable power, variable component in solar and wind also, so that people can determine what needs to be purchased, coal or solar, right? Simhadri, for example, the variable cost is 1.36 rupees only, right? Korba, I am talking of coal power plant. Sipat, Vindhyachal, see the coal power plant, the variable cost is rising, but then it is constant for solar. It must be constant and variable both for solar and wind also. So renewable energy has a tariff problem. Here is how to fix it. The solution is to have both, the fixed and the variable cost both. Remember this must run status and what is the issue with it. Ab dekho, you can use this part in many places. Wherever we talk about issues with variable energy or renewable energy, you just put it right there. Very few people would be aware of an issue like this. And for a country which is transitioning from a place where we have 10% consumption of say 10% consumption of wind and solar right now, more than 60% consumption of coal, we are going to transit in a country where 50% will be generated from renewable by 2030. How many years? Hardly 8 years from now. So we need this new power purchase mechanisms. Okay, this is the second editorial. The third one talks about the issues in Ukraine, and is there a peace plan that is possible? See, there are some images that was present in the newspaper, The Hindu. One of the images talks about, see, images are very powerful to memorize, to remember. It happens subconsciously. We don't even know when it is happening. That's why I use images for you people. So a lady who's picked up her child, during the times of war. Similarly, so newborn baby. Similarly, a child which has been injured. There are places in Poland where people are migrating from one place to another. But then remember, and these are the migrant people from Ukraine. And remember, only children, women and old people were allowed. Boys, males of 18 years plus were not allowed, right? Then we have a female who is trying to secure her children at basement metro stations. Orphan boys being transported from one place to another. Right, this is the effect of the war, and that is the reason that Ukraine needs a peace plan to which European nations and NATO and America possibly is not the best party to work with. Why? Is because they are the ones which are engaged in a virtual proxy war. A good sentence, good word, phrase to use everywhere. Is Pakistan, India not in proxy war? Absolutely. China, India, absolutely. Right, heckling at the borders, shoulder to shoulder. What is that? Proxy war, right? Firing happening at the border, proxy war. So virtual proxy war between USA, European forces, especially Western Europe, versus the Russia. So they do not want a solution. Why not? Yeah, you should look at solution. So they are encouraging rather than restraining. On the other hand, who is the one which is facing the problem? The bordering countries. Poland is facing a problem. Romania is facing a problem. These people are scared to death. Ab agle hum to nahi hai, right? Imagine this situation. So Eastern European nations are going through problem. They never wanted a war like this. But Western European nations, they have all come together. That is a good thing. NATO forces have gotten united. They're spending more on defense. That's fine. America is happy. But then this is a proxy war which is not ending. This is where the editorial says that one must pick up those sentences, phrases from Zelensky's or Russia's premiers, Putin's speeches that they want peace, and then start brokering peace between them. How? You should have something called as a diplomatic stand, which is taken with the help of shuttle diplomacy or interlocutors. Shuttle diplomacy means if the leaders are not wanting to meet directly, one person should be able to shuttle between both the places and meet the leaders one by one and try to engage with both of them. Right now, European nations not doing as much as required. Right, so this is the peace plan, but then it's not happening right now. Right, even when Russia is decreasing its offensive, it is getting into civilian mass casualties. You people would have heard this in the news articles, right? So, so this one thing that the impact of this war that has happened is that because of sanctions, Russian economy is definitely going down. But look at the impact in globalized world. Because of globalization, the impact is such that fuel prices have skyrocketed. Availability of food resources is scarce. Ukraine, Russia, both of them providing oil, food oil, both of them providing wheat. See, that is not available because of sanctions. What about many payments which are now caught in the trap, right? Because of basal payment crisis, right? This is where it is a possibility that Russia could get closer to China. And if it does, India should evolve its diplomatic stance, strategic stance, where India has never defied what Russia has been doing. So this is what the editorial says. The editorial also says one thing, that there is a possibility that micro nuclear payloads could be dispatched, which have a high precision target, right? Possibly with the help of drone. Micro payloads. So this is what It says if it happens, it is not good, it must not happen, right? The end of the editorial is this: speed is the essence. Speed for interlocution or shuttle diplomacy is the essence. Honesty of purpose and will to overcome odds. Dekho dosto, use this everywhere. In your ethics paper, you can start using this phrase. Honesty of purpose is important, and willing to overcome odds, that is very important for a civil servant also. It is important for the people who are brokering peace between both the countries. Okay, so this is the editorial. We move to the last segment, that is the case study of the day. And before that, if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments and shares. All right. Okay, now this is the case study for today, which is on environmentalist from Pune. What have they done? See, there are so many plastic particles that we ourselves throw here and there. I can see one, plastic, this is the leaf of medicine Dolo. Yeah, Dolo Lelo. So many plastic articles and we keep throwing them. Now this is where the couple, they were accidental environmentalists. Why? Because they accidentally became those people who were preservers of the nature earth and destroyers of these kind of plastic pollution. They saw a dead deer which had died due to consumption of plastic, and from then onwards they created a machine which was a plastic shredder. So thermolytic depolymerization process. This is the process through which the shredded plastic, the small shredded plastic torn and here and there, you can't even use it, you don't know what to do with. They created an incinerator a machine which could convert them into the energy particles, right? The energy particles. So polyfuel, the technology converts 25 lakh tons of plastic waste into polyfuel. This is cheaper than the other alternatives found in the market, and can be used for cooking stoves, generators and running tractors. Oh, great. So here is a case study for you, right? So how do you use this? Name this entity: thermolytic depolymerization process, right? So conversion of shredded plastic to utilizable fuel. First key point, right? The second key point is cheaper than whatever entity, other modes of plastic waste. And the third one, saving environment lives by Pune couple. That's it. This is the case study. You should summarize this through this 3-point representation, right? So if you like this initiative, share some love. If there are questions, please come back to us, ask them in the comment section. I will get back to you people. And if there are suggestions, they're most welcome. Let's see all of you in the feature news video, which is on India-Australia participation. All right. So thank you. And let me look at the questions if they are. So this bead is the same bead where Maharashtra government demanded bead model. Yes, same place in Maharashtra. And these are the places. See, as I had mentioned to you people, Maharashtra has got 4 more major areas. So one is the Konkan coast, and then there are 3 major other factions of Maharashtra. And the interior, the more Vidarbha region and the Marathwada region, both of them are the places where you would see a lot of issues related to desertification and scarcity of rainfall. Drought proneness is high, and this is the reason that migrant workers move from one place to another during seasons to as the sugarcane farmers, right? So bead model for bead model, Fasal Bima Yojana, yes. So bead model is a popular model also for utility of there are various bead models for water conservation also. So these are the places where you would see the farming of sugarcane, because the nearby areas are those places where people would migrate from to these places. So the report began with baffling question: why many women in Maharashtra's bead have no wombs? It was reported that the cane cutting contractors are unwilling to hire female menstruating laborers. The belief that menstruation and pregnancy are roadblocks in everyday labor process and hinder the physical capacity of female laborers to carry out daily wage workers drives this unwillingness. Imagine this. So all I'm saying, my friends, is that you people are now aware of something that I wonder many people would be aware of or not. So utilize this information well. If you people have spent your time, this is the reward. Some important, very striking content that definitely touches us, right? So let's see you in the feature news. All right. Thank you for participation. Questions, please put them down.